Imagine creating something that billions of humans would depend on every single day, without ever seeing one before. No GPS, no satellites, no compass, no examples, nothing. And somehow, someone invented the map. But here's the impossible question. How do you draw the world when nobody has ever shown you what a map looks like? Seriously, stop for a second. Every map you've ever used came from another map. Every map you've ever used came from another map. Someone taught you north. Someone taught you scale. Someone taught you what roads should look like. But the first map maker had none of that. No instructions, no teacher, no blueprint, nothing. And yet, their idea quietly changed human civilization forever. But here's where things become strange. Maps are actually a miracle we completely ignore. Think about your day. You open your phone, a tiny blue dot appears. You trust it immediately, turn left, turn right, arrive safely. Without asking a bizarre question, how can a flat drawing know where you are in the real world? Who invented that? And why did billions of people decide to trust them? At first, the answer seems obvious. People got lost. Problem solved. Except that's not where the mystery begins. Because before maps existed, humans were already traveling. They hunted, migrated, crossed deserts, climbed mountains, sailed oceans, and somehow they still made it home. So how? Imagine being alive 40,000 years ago. You leave your camp searching for food. You notice a crooked tree near a river, a giant rock shaped like an animal, a hill where the sun disappears every evening. Little by little, the world becomes a story. Turn at the tree, cross the stream, walk until the mountain splits in two. And suddenly, a weird realization appears. What if the first map wasn't drawn at all? What if it was spoken? Because many anthropologists believe ancient humans carried maps entirely inside their minds. The first navigation system may have been memory itself. Stories passed from generation to generation, a world stored inside people's heads. Which creates another problem. What happens when the person carrying the knowledge dies? Suddenly, entire routes disappear, safe paths vanish, water sources become forgotten, years of experience are erased overnight. And maybe that's the exact moment humanity encountered a new problem. Memory wasn't enough anymore. At some point, someone decided to externalize their thoughts. Maybe they scratched lines into dirt. Maybe they carved symbols into stone. Maybe they drew rivers on cave walls. Nobody knows. But for the first time in human history, a place became a picture. Think about how revolutionary that is. Knowledge could finally survive its creator. You could show someone where danger existed, where food could be found, where opportunities waited. Distance itself became easier to conquer, and civilization suddenly gained a superpower. People could travel farther than ever before. But here's the strange part. The first maps were terrible, not a little wrong, completely wrong. Some maps placed monsters at the edges of the world. Others imagined giant islands that never existed. Entire oceans were guesses. Continents looked distorted. Reality and imagination blended together, which is honestly fascinating because humanity explored reality using imperfect information, and somehow it still worked. But maybe that's not ancient history at all. Maybe that's still happening today. Because here's an uncomfortable question. How many maps are guiding your life right now that aren't entirely accurate? Not road maps, invisible maps, maps of success, maps of happiness, maps of what your life is supposed to become, graduate, find a career, get married, buy a house, have children, retire. Who drew those maps? Who decided that sequence? And why do billions of people trust it without questioning it? Because maybe the greatest maps humans ever created weren't geographical. They were psychological. Stories about how life should be lived. And suddenly, this isn't a story about ancient explorers anymore. It's a story about you. Because every human alive follows invisible maps. Some were given by parents, some by culture, some by social media, some by fear, some by people who were simply guessing themselves, which leads to a strange realization. The first mapmaker wasn't trying to draw the world. They were trying to understand it, to transform chaos into clarity, fear into direction, confusion into something survivable. And that's why their invention changed everything. Because they weren't helping themselves. They were helping future strangers. So who was the first mapmaker? Nobody knows. Maybe a hunter tracing a river in the dirt. Maybe a sailor observing stars. Maybe a parent teaching a child the safest way home. Their name disappeared, their drawing vanished, but their idea survived. And now billions of humans rely on that idea every single day because every destination you've ever reached began with one impossible thought. What if I could show someone else the way? But perhaps the real mystery isn't who drew the first map. The real mystery is this. What invisible maps are controlling your life right now? And who gave them to you? If this made you question something ordinary, subscribe. Because the world is hiding impossible mysteries in plain sight. And the next thing you've trusted your entire life may be stranger than you ever imagined.